candid camera.
Alright, is it running?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let me just double check. You're good.
Okay. Okay.
What's the point of this camera?
It's supposed to be
so-
a video card. Miss teaching.
I'm also in college. Some of y'all are aware of that, some of you aren't. We're videoing it for one of my college classes. I had to teach so many lessons to be able to get my teaching license. So, because today y'all were supposed to be off and not here, Miss Chandler and I decided that we were going to, I was going to teach about helping you learn how to find credible resources on the internet when you're researching for a paper or a project. So we're just going to do a quick do now. I'm going to hand you a piece of loose leaf. If you can put your names and the date at the top, I'll collect these when the class is over.
Is Google one of them?
No. We'll get to that. We will discuss Google in detail.
Internet Explorer is too slow. They might be a year behind, you know?
Nobody cares about Internet Explorer anymore.
Right? So slow. It's the one search engine that gets all the hate.
Alright. Yep, just put your
And
name.
pineapple.
Damon. Name and date at the top.
Name, date.
Take about 2 to 3 minutes.
Last name too?
Last name too, please. Thank you. You can write Google.
Don't write anything you think of. Oh, sorry.
What's today's date?
The 13th, April 13th.
Is it seriously?
Oh my god.
Alright, Miles. Calm down.
It's like,
Oh, there's no my data turns out to be the
I'm all
15th.
bust out.
Diamond, you look stuck. You look stuck.
No, I'm good.
Are you done? Okay, cool. If you're done, go ahead and put your pencils down. So
Why?
and I know that you're
Because he's not, we
finished.
don't have it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Diamond, so you need to move up front so you can see.
Specific.
Sit next to
Say
Miles.
specific. Name 5 specific.
Specific.
That time you said specific.
No,
That time you said
no, it didn't.
What about Pacific?
specific.
Pacific.
Damon, are you done?
Okay.
You have 5.
I can't.
Get glasses.
Well, I can't. My glasses, but she didn't buy them.
Wow.
So
Let Diamond concentrate.
You lose every pair of glasses.
that's not my fault. I told it's not fast.
Come on.
People coming in and out.
Put your shirt down. Alright, how's everybody doing?
Oh,
By show of hands, who's done?
ah.
Joseph, you done? Kevon, are you finished? Damon, finished? No? Still thinking?
Yeah.
Alright, take about another
How
minute.
many you got?
One. I don't
So-
know any good resources.
I think she just means types.
What do you mean?
Like, you've got computer, how about
Gee, how about
So think broad, it doesn't just have to be internet
it
related.
could be books, it could be newspapers.
Oh,
articles,
okay.
It could be, you know,
Yeah, there you go.
Newspaper girls.
no, all the girls are smart and we know everything.
Oh, And that's not true because
But here's a piece of
the
paper on
bridge
your
built by
desk.
girls.
We're just doing a quick do now.
Okay.
Name 5 specific
So-
resources that you can use when you're researching for a paper or proproject. And it can be broad, but it doesn't have to be just internet related.
Okay.
So we have about, take about another 30 seconds. I know, you can just take your time, buddy. Alright, so, anybody like to share what they have first? Zarina?
Google, Bing, computer, phone.
Okay. Miles?
Books. Go.org websites. Those are made by organizations.
Okay, so we'll get to that. Okay.
Dot
And then teachers, because they gave you the assignment, so they should
People or
so they
resources.
should be able to help you.
Okay,
.gov websites, because those drawings are made by governments that.
okay.
And Google, because it's a search engine for you to get reliable sources, and sometimes it's not reliable sources.
Do you have anything different than .gov?
Yeah. Bio.com, thesauruses,
The source?
your local library,
Okay.
and Wikipedia is not a credible source.
Joseph, what do you have?
The same that everyone else said.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
forgot EDU
Is there
websites.
any, Lacey, do you have anything different?
Newspaper, articles, a book, or actual.
Very good.
And sometimes a news station.
Okay. So, you guys pretty much covered most of them. Obviously, books are a very credible resource. Biographies,
Why are you looking at the camera?
newspaper articles, I'm not looking at.
Oh, it looks.
A speech
Okay.
that somebody gives.
Martin Luther King.
Encyclopedia, did you say that, Mike?
And he's at the source.
Magazine articles. Scientific reports, I think that's one that we forget about quite often. Graphs. An interview is a great resource.
But they all.
Wait, till we get to that. A diary, a memoir, journals, videos, textbooks, historical documents, photos, a poem, short stories. And the one thing they actually don't have on here that you guys brought up are people. First-hand resources.
Is that what speech is?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Depends on what context you receive it.
Who's that dude?
I'm sorry, what?
I think from the interview.
An interview, if you're having a conversation with somebody, you can get credible information from talking to them and asking them questions. So, are some resources better to use than others?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Love them.
Do you believe everything you see?
No.
No.
Do you believe everything you read and write?
No.
Maybe.
So what resources do you think are most credible, Miles?
Historical stuff, documents, biographies, don't go on websites, they're more than non-reliable. People, interviews, diaries, memoirs, more like first-hand things.
First-hand things.
Instead of having websites where other people tell a story that daddy got told.
Mike?
As you go through, the less credible sources are the ones that someone hears and then they write down because they can put a spin on it.
So can you give me an example of one of those?
Go. Get the binder out.
Mike, can you give me an example of?
So if you're reading the Dover Post, they might put a spin on things that makes it less factual and pushes something that they're trying to state through the beginning of the article.
Does anybody know what that's called?
Fake news.
So that is called a bias. We have to be careful about certain resources that we use because they could be biased towards a certain topic
What is the
Let
word
me
bias?
or way of thinking.
Gaming.
What does bias mean? So I have 2 dogs. So I might be biased that dogs are better than cats.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
And Miss Kobus just
No,
gave
it's
you a
not
dirty
true.
look.
Damon, what do you have to add?
That's
That's
why
okay.
I also don't find people as the
Okay.
best source. It
Damon has
it
the floor.
can be good, but a lot of the things could become opinions.
But I've talked
So-
to a
But
Stevie
can you
earlier
let
and
can
that
you
was-
let Damon finish,
Yes.
please?
So
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. It's very easy to be able to go from fact to opinion.
Well, I like testing
Alright. So there's two types of resources. Primary and secondary. And depending on how the author is writing depends on if they're primary. A primary resources, they receive that information firsthand. A secondary resource means that they've received that information from other resources. Does anybody know what one of the most important things to use is when they're looking for internet research? Miles?
Make sure it's not Wikipedia.
Okay, so
It's
Wikipedia does have the tendency to have false information. Anything else?
If you really want really reliable information, look for websites that end in .edu.
Okay. Anybody
Because
else
you can
have
read by
anything that they think is more important when they're looking up internet research? Let's make
Don't look for articles that aren't trying to push an agenda.
Okay, so bias. And Lacey, anything? No? Joseph?
I don't really have anything else to add.
Okay. So, credibility is the most important thing. How reliable or accurate the information is and how it's presented. And that's yes,
I was about to
Miles.
answer both of those questions. Well, how to know if it's reliable? You don't go on one internet website. You check multiple websites to see if they have the same information. Because if they changed it, one website wouldn't have the exact same information as another website.
Very good.
Okay.
So, there are 3 questions to ask to know whether your source is credible. What's the ending of the website? Miles and Mike have said that multiple times. Is it a .com, a .org, an .edu, or a .gov? And as we've already answered, .edu and .gov do tend to have the most credible information out of any type of internet site.
What is he
.org's pretty credible
So
too.
EDU would be an educational website, so I
that's
attend
EDU means like education.
educational, yes.
Educational
Government
university.
organization.
And .gov is a government website, so Delaware, the website for Delaware is delaware.gov, and it
Okay.
has all government information on it.
Okay.
And that's
That
good.
would that would be good for exhibition.
Now,
It- You could get information for your exhibition off a .edu or a .gov website, yes. So the second question is, who is the author of the website? Sometimes it's hard to find an exact author, so you may have to look for the organization or the group that helped create that website. Yes, Mike?
So when you're saying hard to find the author, so what do you mean by hard to find the author?
So you may be reading through a website and that has an article on it that doesn't tell you who the exact author of. So if I wrote something and it got printed on a website, it might not have Miss McParlin listed as the author of that section. So you may only be able to reference the website as a whole. So if that organization was Positive Outcomes Charter School, then you would have to say that that information came from Positive Outcomes Charter School.
Okay.
And then the third question, you want to look up the author's name online and read about him or her to make sure that they're qualified to write about the topic. If I'm writing about biology, I'm not a biologist, so I wouldn't be qualified to write about extensive research on the topic of biology. And then the third question is, is when it was published or the last time that it was updated. There are times where we look up research and it's old research, so it's no longer relevant, or things have changed in that topic or area. So we wanna make sure that we're looking at information that has been updated or has been, provided in the last 5 years. If it's 5 years or older, you don't wanna use it. Oh, I need to go back.
It
So we're
doesn't
just gonna
work
watch
sometimes.
a cute, or a short YouTube video on credibility.
It's a warning.
North Korea.
If a stranger on the street came up to you and started speaking, you'd probably want to know more about him and what he's saying before you took him seriously. The same
No.
goes for websites. Our way of viewing the world is based on the information we encounter. We use that information to make lots of different kinds of decisions throughout our lifetimes. There's a lot of information online, and since anyone can post it, it's crucial to evaluate websites before you trust the information you find. Evaluating information is essential for your assignments. It will make your research better, strengthen your arguments, and get you better grades. The first thing to consider is the type of website and where the website is coming from. Is the website providing a service or product to sell? Are there sponsored links or ads? .coms or commercial websites are usually motivated to make money in some way. Is the page supported by a group, organization, or company? What does the group stand to gain by convincing others of its points? .orgs are created by non-profit or for-profit organizations or associations. Is the website from an educational or governmental institution? These websites are more likely to provide objective information and don't contain ads or sponsored links because they are highly regulated. Is the information coming from a personal website, a blog, or a website intended for sharing personal opinions about an issue? Tildes or percent signs followed by personal names or initials usually indicate personal websites. When you've identified the purpose of the website, ask yourself, who wrote this information? Is the author an expert on this topic? Is he or she very opinionated on this topic? How does that influence what they may have written? Before you use a website for research, you'll need to do some detective work about the author. If you don't immediately see an author listed, scan the perimeter of the web page for an about or an information section. If you can't locate information about the author, backtrack to the main website address by removing characters in the URL after the .com, .gov, or .org domain. When you find an author's name, use the name and a few subject-specific keywords in a web search to get more information about other things that author might have written, or things that people might have said about him or her. That way, if you decide to use their information as a source, you can put their credibility or their bias in the context of your paper. If the text on a website doesn't have a designated author, or if there's no information about who is responsible for the website, that may be a red flag, and you may want to continue your search for another information source. Next, ask yourself what sort of evidence the author provides for the points that he or she is trying to make. Does the website list citations or link out to other websites, news stories, or magazine articles? What about academic sources like books from university presses or scholarly journal articles? Do the links provided actually work? Can you track down those sources and verify the evidence used on the website? If you can't find academic sources to verify the information, you may have to move on to a different source. Finally, consider when this information was published or last updated. Over time, the way a topic is addressed or written about may differ or change completely. Make sure that the site you're viewing is either up to date or published at a time that is relevant to the topic you're studying. You'd be skeptical about a stranger's word on the street, so be skeptical about websites in the same way. Make sure a website is credible by looking at the type of website and its purpose, the author and their potential bias, if the information on the website can be verified or there are references provided, and when the information was last updated.
Okay.
That's a credible video.
So, one of the things that I see you guys do a lot,
You have caps locks on.
I know.
You got goggle up on it, okay?
Why is it blocked?
I guess we got a goggle now, guys.
Goggle.
Goggle is a credible website. Valuable search engine.
So, one of the things that I see you guys do a lot is Somebody give me a topic, something very simple.
Mark,
Eggs.
hold on.
Trees.
To Mark
All eggs.
17.
Foresting.
Forest.
The mark.
Okay.
Yeah. Trees is not very specific. Foresting is. Trees, you could be like
Deforestation.
So,
the.
I see you guys doing a lot of,
Oh, dictionary.com.
Mike. You pull the information from the box that pops up in Google, first and foremost. But you don't necessarily know where this information is coming from. So instead of copying information right from, I call it the easy box. It's the box that pops up first and foremost and gives you the information. You want to scroll down and find
Dictionary.com.
a resource that's providing you the information that you want, that you know is going to come from a credible source. So dictionary.com, if you're looking for the definition of a word, could more than likely be your most credible source. Do we want to go to Wikipedia?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Like they said, you can go to Wikipedia,
Yes.
you need to see if they have evidence to back it up, and if they have links.
Or go down to the bottom and look
Actually,
at their.
Wikipedia can't be.
Right, their resources. Where did they
Good.
get that information? So do you think that maybe this link here would have the best information on forestry?
Yes, edu. And it's called forestry. Is that
Yeah.
California?
Yeah, it's Cali.
So
Oh my
that's
gosh,
a
never mind. California barely got any trees.
Really? Have you seen the mountains?
Have you
That's the
seen them on
Have
fire?
you seen the droughts?
yes, that's gonna fall and hurt
Yeah, the
itself.
droughts don't really
I never
affect
been
the
on
trees.
the jungle.
The trees
Have you
have
seen
nat-
them on
All right.
fire?
Alright, let's bring it back.
That's the natural
Bring it back.
cycle of
No,
life,
let's turn around.
actually.
David and Mike.
In certain ecosystems,
Guys.
fires are natural.
I know.
Thank you. So, here are some tips to how we can judge whether an internet source is credible or not. There is an acronym for it, and you guys are gonna think it's pretty funny.
Crash.
Crap.
Crab.
I knew it was
So
crap.
the
I knew it
acronym
was
is
crap.
crap with
Crap.
2 A's. Let's keep it
It's not just
appropriate
crap,
though.
it's
Crap.
crap.
No, it's crap.
No, that's the type when you get bumped. Crap.
So,
Crap.
the first tip is
Currency.
how recent is a website? Is it a current website? When's the last time it's been updated? You can almost always find at the bottom of a website the date that it was last updated or published. Yes, Mike.
What type of currency are you giving us today?
Mike, let's actually
Yeah, I was
stay
about to say,
focused.
isn't it currency?
Yeah,
Now
it's
you've got another meaning of it.
Yeah, yes. Currency also can mean how current something is. Relevance. Does the website support the idea that you are working on? If it gives a few sentences, but it's not directly related, then maybe that's not the best website for you to use.
Where that person just did not lie.
Or, correct, maybe that person who wrote that information didn't have all of the information that you needed, so maybe you should find a different website that does.
Like money, the back problem.
Authority. Who is the author? Are they an expert? Do you really want me helping you on a biology project?
Yes.
No, I'm not a biologist. I'm not gonna be able to give you the information. Would Miss Ford Green be a better resource than myself?
Yes.
Yes, she has a degree in
You're
biology, and she is your science teacher. She probably would be your best resource.
everybody's
I gotta go to
somehow in a biology because we're all humans.
Mike. Accuracy. Double check the information with another source. So if your site tells you one thing and you've gone to a second site and it says something opposite, what should you do after that?
Go to
Well,
4
you-
more sites. And
You
see
see, okay, you gotta go to more sites, and then you see what's stated most out of all of them, like what's stated often. So like, you look up a site about whiteboards, and a lot of them say that whiteboards are white. Well,
Okay. And if you have a different site that tells you that whiteboards are purple, do you
Black.
think that maybe you should double check and
That-
make sure.
That one, you might have, you might wanna check, because that one might be wrong.
I think we
You gotta
got
check
Or
if
you
it's
might be a hippie.
right as well, and everyone
Right.
else is also wrong.
How do you
So you wanna double check.
how do you know that he wasn't on drugs?
And then lastly, purpose. Why was the website created and are there any biases? So, if the website was created for advertisements to make money, then do you think that's the best source for you to use?
I don't know.
Ask Miles.
Do you
He's
think
typed
if the
in
website
random
was
things into
created-
the search
Mike,
bar.com.
Mike,
Mike, you're doing too much.
Diamond, if the website that you're using was created to make money, do you think that's the best website for you to use for a research project?
Yes.
No. So we want to use a website that's made specifically for whatever you're researching. And those best websites are,
.gov.edu.
yes.
All
right, so- We just finished reading Marigolds. So we are going to do an online scavenger hunt about the author, Ingenia Collier. So I want everybody to go ahead and grab a Google Chromebook.
They gotta tell
A
me
Google
twice.
Chromebook.
Google Chromebook. That's what-
Miles, can you grab me one?
I'm good.
Mike, don't be lazy. Get up. Your legs on the
Ugh.
rope.
I wasn't gonna grab one in the first place. Excuse me.
Yes.
So, when I was here,
Can we talk? We're done with the
that's
lesson?
quick.
Okay.
So, okay, I went on Roblox Q for some reason. Then, like, I one of my favorite games. Then I found the Game Pass that was like for 20 Robux. And I decided to buy that because I have 29 Robux left.
Oh.
Then I bought another hairstyle just for fun with it. Yeah, just for fun.
Let's go ahead and get started, David.
And this is why I don't like kids.
Yeah, and the Game Pass was Gravity Switcher.
Oh.
And I can jump higher now.
Cool.
Like that guy who got on the top of this school.
Alright, David, let's have a seat and get started. So if you guys can put your name and the date at the top of this paper.
That's an old lady who lived in Chile. Probably was really smelly.
That was off the holes.
That's all. What college do you go to?
Lila, do you want a computer?
Just make me which college?
She goes to University of
College,
Wilmington.
Wilmington University.
Yes, I said it.
I said that in my head.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I'm supposed to be. How can you tell me what I'm thinking, bro?
Because I'm special.
Alright, don't forget name and dates at the top because I'll be collecting these. So the purpose of your scavenger hunt is to find the answers to the questions in the far left column. But you want to use credible resources. So make sure,
I knew there was a catch to it. I knew it.
always the catch. So make sure that
But we aren't playing baseball.
the websites that we're using have relevant, accurate, and up-to-date information. More purposely for an EDU or a .gov website, but because this is about a specific person, .gov probably won't have much information for you.
Other than
A plant growing is usually orange, yellow, or
And then you have to make sure that you list out your resource that you're using in the far right-hand column. So write out the whole website, so I know exactly what
the entire
you're using.
thing.
The entire thing. So write small if you need to.
sketch makes no sense at all.
I used to write so small. My teacher that wore glasses used to have to strain her eyes to see.
Well, maybe you should write it.
I can write small.
Alright.
So can
So
I.
you got
SMAO.
17 minutes until class is over, so just try to work through what you can for the remainder of the period. And then we'll
Do we
do
have to write the www for HTTPS?
just give me the main
.org.
body, whatever the website's called, and if it has a slash or anything after it, include that as well.
Is the Merriam-Webster talking about stuff in 2018. Yes, talking about stuff in 2018.
2018 would be current website. You okay, Zarina? Are you bleeding? Are you sure? Yeah, I can.
Trying to give her a Band-Aid.
I was gonna say, we need a Band-Aid. Did you hurt yourself outside?
No, she was
Oh. Oh.
well, we turned my phone.
Yeah.
Had to see everything on the
Let's just keep an eye on it.
Alright, just
get.
be prepared to strain your eyes.
Fine.
Cause I gotta go back to writing school.
Are you writing super small, Miles?
I'm writing how I
Are you writing like how you wrote last year for Miss
Okay,
Bob?
Lila.
I used to write like that.
Oh, let me see.
Can write smaller, but
Source. It's readable.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was writing to the point where it's readable though. So
Yeah.
I was trying to make it keep going.
Yeah, I can do
That's
that.
fine,
so.
Miles. I can read that.
It's smaller, farther down.
And then just make sure you put the
I need
ending,
a
whether
sharper
it's a .com,
Do you
a
have a sharp pencil
.org,
in there?
.gov.
Real quick.
.com.
no, there isn't.
Slash dictionary.
Makes sense though, since pencil box, they can easily get broken inside of it.
You got a writing utensil, Damon?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Greatest Depression.
So